All right, be electric. What does that mean, and why do we talk about it so much around our office? To me, I tell everybody that being electric is just when we interact with anybody outside of our company, they should notice a difference between when they deal with somebody from our business and other businesses. And that doesn't just mean being overly enthusiastic or somebody who's hot, talking loud and making a lot of noise, being super energetic, overly happy. That might be it, and that might be the way some people are electric, but also in the way you execute, how friendly you are, you smile. Being electric to me is when somebody talks to somebody who works for any one of our businesses, they should feel different. When they hang up the phone, they should be like, man, that really enjoyed that. I really feel like that guy's going to take care of what I need. So we talk about being electric a lot. That's sort of what that means. Another really good example of that was years ago. I'm friends with a lady that manages a law firm in Chicago. And when we would have meetings at their office, the receptionist, every single time I got off the elevator, she knew me by name. She asked how my kids were. And she immediately set the tone for the next couple of hours of what our meeting was going to be all about. So about 8 years ago, I had a meeting intentionally where I brought my leadership team to that office. I asked the managing partner if I could use their conference room. And I really just wanted them to all experience this lady, Annie. Maybe we'll talk about it more in a future video and maybe even go visit the office. But after our meeting was done, at the very end of the day, I said, what was the one thing that really, really stood out to you? And unanimously, they all said Annie. And again, she was the receptionist. From the moment we got off the elevator, we all felt special. So that's one other thing. Just one other thing about being electric. My dad and I didn't talk a lot about kind of like father-son life lessons, but what he did tell me is whenever I played football, especially on the practice field, to make sure that I brought more energy, intensity, enthusiasm, effort, whatever that was, but somehow make sure that I stood out in the coach's eyes, trying to win every drill if you could, be the first in line, be the first guy back from water break, stand next to the coach so if something happened in the game and if somebody forgot to go in or whatever that was. But that was one of the lessons that he taught me, and in a weird way, he never used the term be electric, but it did let me know that through things I could control, not talent type stuff, but just simply pushing myself in the things that I can control in practice or even during the game, make sure that when I had my opportunity that the coach recognized that there was a difference. So in some ways, I talk a lot about that with the young people in our business. Be ready to go, stand next to the coach, be electric. These crazy sunglasses today are a little bit of a tribute to my dad. In the 80s, we would go on these little ski trips to Michigan, Southside Chicago people, little road trips to Michigan. And my dad, the one thing that stung out, my dad was always the best skier of all the dads, and he always had these white sunglasses on. So this year for Christmas, I asked my wife if I could get a pair, and even though they probably look crazy, that's what they're all about. A little tribute to my dad, Daryl Ortiz. So don't forget, be electric.